rusted. Everyone?
The whole cargo, I'm afraid.
Who was responsible for the stowage?
I was.
Those who bear responsibility must learn to accept the consequences. You had better come to my office. Immediately.
I have that sealed and delivered to the master of the Orphea with instructions that he's to sail no later than morning tide. All right, Tubman, that's all.
You've given Wilkinson the Orphea. That was to be my ship.
The Orphea was never intended for you. Come on, she's stiff, cranky, workhorse. She's a young man's ship.
Oh, too old am I, so I'm to be pitched on the beach and my command given to a young stripling still wet behind the ears.
Wilkinson's only 28. He's a young man. It's his first command. Now give the lad a chance. I'll find another ship for you.
As senior captain, first choice should be mine, sir.
First choice is mine. Captains take whatever ship that I give them.
That is your signature.
It is.
Receipting that the cargo was shipped in good order.
It was. We loaded in Buenos Aires. I made random checks. There was nothing wrong when they were put aboard.
You seem determined to hang yourself. I thought cargo stowage was the responsibility of the mate.
He's not to blame. I supervised the loading myself. And on the passage home, I followed normal custom and practice. During fine weather, I ventilated the holds. When the weather closed in, I battened down. I don't understand.
Well, your lack of understanding has cost the company £20,000. For the insurance company won't pay.
Well, they must do, surely.
There's no must about it. Not if the loss is attributable to a servant of the company. Here, read for yourself. Do you still hold that the blame was yours?
Look, I never admitted the blame was mine. I simply stated that I don't know the cause.
I see, it's just bad luck, is it? I close the books and write cause.
Elizabeth, I'm trying to find out the cause as much as you...
Mrs. Fraser, if you please, Mr. Harvey.
I see.
There are 20,000 reasons why you should see. Just remember, it was me who gave you your first command. And if any other ship owner should ever need a reference...
Will that be all, Mum?
Did you find out who the premises really belong to, then?
Oh, aye, it is the salt line. They keep one floor to themselves and sublet the rest of the building.
They never seem to do much business.
No. Well, I'll have a word with their Mr. Sinclair, and if he's willing to sell and the price is right, I reckon it'd be a worthwhile investment.
The moment it's ours, that toffee boiler has to go.
What, Emma Savage? Well, she makes good toffee, does Emma. Very good toffee. Well, I think it's time for my appointment, aye.
Biffle, don't offer them too high a price to start with.
I think you can safely leave that side of the business to me. Excuse me, Mr. Sinclair. Oh, yes. Mr. Sinclair.
Mr. Onedin. Delighted to make your acquaintance, old fellow. You will take a little something, won't you?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes. Mr. Onedin will take the same, and so indeed will I. I hope you will accept my recommendation. Champagne and brandy, I find it wondrously settling to the stomach.
Oh.
It activates the juices and promotes the appetite.
Thank you. Very kind. Fortunately, I'm blessed with a good appetite.
Without the aid of stimulants. I envy you, Mr. Onedin. I do indeed. And now, sir, in what way may I be of service to you?
Well, I understand that you own the premises next to mine.
Next to yours?
On Stanley Quay.
Of Of course, you're the shopkeeping Onedin, not the other one. I'm afraid I haven't yet availed myself of the opportunity of visiting your emporium. When not attending upon the office, I live with my aunt in Croxteth. No doubt, as a tradesman, you have a certain familiarity with the area.
Well, it may interest you to know that I have recently purchased a residence there.
Really? Oh, one never knows with whom one's rubbing shoulders these days. Never mind about the change. Your good health.
Well, Mr. Sinclair, I understand that you are the sole representative of the Salt Line Company.
My dear boy, I am Salt Line, a very old established firm.
Yes, and they're very old buildings, if I may say so, not in a particularly good state of repair.
Really? I hadn't noticed. Delighted you drew my attention to it. Repairs are the responsibility of the tenants. I've been too lax, my dear fellow, far too lax. I shall see to it at once that the rogues honour their obligations. And now, sir, what precisely is your interest?
Well, considering the general dilapidation of the premises and their proximity to my own, it did cross my mind that you might possibly be willing to sell at a fair price.
And what would you consider a fair price?
200? And 50?
My dear old boy, not only would I need to seek new premises, but I would also lose the small but adequate income from my tenants. I think not, Mr. Onedin. I think not.
Well then, Mr. Sinclair, what would you consider to be a fair price?
£1,500 for that heap of old bricks? You must be out of your senses.
Well, I had no intention of paying such a sum. I knew that he was baiting me. I just wanted to see how far he would push it.
Man of extravagant tastes, would you say?
Oh, yes, he spends money like water. He gambles quite a bit. And I think he has a fondness for the ladies.
And he turned down £1,500 for a building worth, what?
Oh, a couple of hundred.
Well, he's either very wealthy or a fool.
Well, I take him for a spendthrift, but I can assure you, James, that he is no fool.
Are you sure, quite sure, that he is Salt Line?
That's what he said. I am Salt Line. Those were his very words.
Oh. Well, we could go into that, you know. Maybe I should see this Mr. Sinclair.
Well, if you think it's in the company's interest, perhaps I think you should.
Well, it could be a good investment. If the price were right. Now, about this Brazil venture. You've had the prospectus for over a week, and so far not a word.
Well, you know, James, floating a public company, I mean, it needs careful thought.
Oh, come on, we've done it before.
I know we have, but not on a scale as vast as this.
Well, what do you think of it? I'm putting in every penny I can scrape together. Everything.
And taking the lion's share, as usual?
And the risks, Elizabeth. Control. Let's keep it in the family.
Oh, so now it's an appeal to family loyalty. Not notably one of your virtues. I can't afford it, James. I might have put up £20,000, for as you know, I do believe in the venture. But that stupid man, Harvey, has just lost me that much.
Oh.
A ruined cargo, a matter of insurance, an entire shipment of canned meat. Every single tin rusted through.
That's unusual. Harvey's always struck me as a man who knew his business. First-rate hand, mate, should make a good master.
Yes, well, he's free of employment now. So if you're thinking of hiring him, don't say you haven't been warned.
And you say 20,000 would see you in, eh? I might go and see you, Mr. Harvey.
She's a tartar, a regular tartar.
Put out the grass like an old horse.
Pounds, shillings, and pence, that's all she understands.
Took me ship off me. Too old for those games, he said. Me, too old.
Well, she's not the only owner, and a spell apart might not be a bad thing.
On the beach at my age. Because that's what it amounts to, despite his fine words.
To perdition with owners.
Oh, well, I'll drink to that.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening,
Well,
sir.
what'll you take, eh?
Same again, please, sir.
Right, a rum, please.
Me too.
Here, you're looking for a ship.
That's right, sir. Yes.
Settled yet, eh?
Not yet.
Well, I dare say you won't be as fussy as Captain Baines over there as regards choice of ships, eh? Oh, don't look so surly. Here, got something in mind for you.
Why shouldn't I be so fussy, sir?
I heard that you had a little trouble with your cargo.
You could put it like that, yes.
Right. What happened?
I don't understand. I followed the normal usages of the sea.
You ventilated the holds properly?
I'm always most particular.
Right. No seepage, no leakages.
It's dry as a bone, sir.
Bad weather?
Well, once we cleared the tropics, it followed us all the way across. But we were battened down as tight as a drum. And yet when we opened the hatches, every tin was rusted through.
Did you ever hear the like, Captain Baines?
Never. It's a freak.
A freak, eh? Well, maybe you're right. Oh, yeah. Take another, gentlemen.
All this Brazilian nonsense. 5 million. I tell you, we'll all end up in the poorhouse.
Furs, Croxter's Row. Yes, a most superior address.
One thing I do know. If James goes down, he's not taking me with him.
Oh, Robert, our new house.
Mortgaged up to the hilt.
Nonsense, we paid for it with our own money.
Company money.
Your company, my dear.
Yes, but it's all tied up with James. If one topples, we all fall down.
Who's in charge?
I am.
Well, where can I find the owner?
Home. A bed. As usual.
Bed? This time of day?
Of course. She's a cripple.
Who is?
Mrs. Salt. The owner. That's who you're wanting, isn't it?
Mr. James Onedin. I don't think I know the name. Are you of a religious turn of mind, Mr. Onedin?
No, not particularly. Good afternoon, Mrs. Salt.
Afternoon. Is it afternoon already? I take little account of time. At my age, every tick of the clock is a small murder. Bring unto me my righteousness, for it shall not be far off, and my salvation will not tarry. The prophet Ezekiel. He once breathed life into dry bones. Did you know that, Mr. Onedin?
Yes, I'm familiar with the passage.
Yet you are not a believer. Oh, come, sit down. I'll show it to you. I have it here somewhere. I cannot find it. Oh, well, it does not matter. When I was but 18, newlywed, one dreadful day, sky and water met and broke my husband's ship into pieces. It was a month before I knew if he had survived. But by then, my limbs had turned into sticks.
I'm sorry.
For 50 years, I've searched the testaments, but can find no justification. My husband was a patient man. He died 5 years ago.
He built up the salt line.
We had 20 fine ships.
And I have put 6.
My age, it is no longer important.
He gave his life to it.
Dust, Mr. Onedin. Dust and dross.
Who's Mr. Sinclair?
That is my nephew, Louis. He has been managing the company since my husband died. Have you met him?
No.
He wastes his patrimony on the pleasures of the flesh. When I die, he will inherit the years of the locusts.
It's your intention to bequeath the company to him.
What remains of it? Debt, Mr. Onedin. A mountain of debt.
Poor monument to your husband. All those years of effort. The company could be made to pay. I should like to make you an offer for it.
Impossible. I gave my word that I would not sell his company during my lifetime. Nothing written down, you understand? Just my word.
I'd give you a fair price for it. A sum that would enable you to live out the rest of your days in comfort.
Comfort? My only comfort will be the grave.
He can't sell, and she won't.
Well, she might live for 20 years.
Debts, she said. Mountains of debts.
Phew.
Oh, thank goodness you've arrived, Mr. Sinclair. There's a gentleman in your office. He's been there 30 minutes. I tried to stop him, but he just barged in and he wouldn't give his name. I told him he'd be back shortly, but...
Good morning.
Who the devil are you?
Oh, didn't your clerk announce me?
You have the effrontery to march into my office without so much as a by your leave?
You must be Sinclair.
Onedin. I've already met the shopkeeping branch of the family. I was not impressed. Do you leave of your own accord, or do I have you thrown out?
Oh, yes. I thought to make you an offer for this business.
Good day to you, sir.
Of course, I realize that you're in no position to sell either a stick or a stone of it, but, well, I thought you might like to use your influence with your aunt.
Now, why should I do that?
Oh, come, man. You'll be on the rocks before you know it.
You really are the most presumptuous fellow I've ever had the misfortune to meet. Do you normally conduct your business in so offensive a manner?
I have spoken to your aunt.
Oh, really?
However, she seems content to leave the running of her affairs in your hands.
In that case, there is nothing more to be said. Good day to you, Mr. Onedin. Do not trouble yourself to call again. I shall instruct my clerks to forbid you the door.
Well, you know where I am. If you should change your mind, you will give me first call, won't you?
Never.
I didn't hear you knock, Mr. Harvey.
Seems that the word has got around.
Does that surprise you?
No, only the speed. I've had more doors slammed in my face in the last 48 hours than I've had...
If you think I'm responsible for that, you're very much mistaken. I've far more important things to do.
Everywhere I go, the answer's the same.
A ruined cargo lying on a dockside requires no messenger.
The Prince Edward loads next week, and as yet you've got no master for her.
And you think I should give you command?
Yes. I know her like the back of my hand.
You have the effrontery after losing me £20,000.
Oh, damn it, woman! Don't you think I know what I'm asking? Do you imagine that I enjoy coming here, cap in hand? The only reason I'm here is because our relationship is something more than that of an employer and an employee.
In that case, you've not only taken a great deal for granted, you've made a very big mistake. Business and pleasure I keep in separate compartments.
Oh, yes. Seems like I have made a mistake.
The house? My house?
Belongs to the company.
A company of which I am a shareholder and a director and have been so for many a year.
True. But all profits belong to the company and must not be used to line your pockets with.
I have never in my life touched a penny piece that wasn't my own.
I have it here. You bought yourself a house for £900 out of company funds.
With company approval. Whereas you have been playing ducks and drakes with the profits, my profits, to prop up your other company.
Investments, Robert. Never a button to myself.
All right, then. All right, then. We will call my house an investment.
Exactly what I've been trying to tell you. Your house is an investment, and a very good one, too, if I might say so.
Oh, thank you.
And the company will be very fair and charge you but a nominal rent.
She hasn't touched it. You must see that she eats.
Don't you know that fasting is good for the soul? You should try it sometime.
Food, drink, or gambling?
All three. Oh, my poor Louis, they're the only pleasures you have. You know, for such a brief time.
Very true, Aunt. But then, the love of a good woman continues to elude me.
Now you're mocking me.
Only very gently.
That poem that you were reading me before supper,
Tennyson or Shelley?
Tennyson, about the sea. It's over there. Read it to me again.
Break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice
that is still. Thank you. Go away now and play your games. You cannot win, you know.
I can try.
And this Brazilian venture, it's your intention to invest all your assets?
I did.
It's a grave risk. If it should fail...
Well, if it should fail, you become a ship owner as well as a banker.
Well, Mr. Onedin, I think we can accommodate you. 1.25 million at 2.5%.
2.25%.
Well, let us say 2.5 for the first million and 2.25 thereafter.
let us say 2 1/8. Yeah.
Done. No, I might take a flyer myself.
Well, always useful to have a banker on the board. Tell me, does Salt Lime bank with you?
Not one of our more rewarding accounts.
Going downhill, I hear.
It's a pity, great pity. It's the old story. First generation makes the money, second spends it.
Yeah. You will have another brandy, won't you?
Oh, the man's a fool.
Fond of the card tables, I gather.
Oh, gambles away the profits, well, such as they are, before they come in. You know, if it weren't for old Mrs. Salt, I would have foreclosed long ago. Have you met her?
Thank you, man.
I've known the family for years. So I've tried to advise her. She's an obstinate woman. She will not listen. You know, there are times when I think the poor soul is bereft of reason.
Just how much does Sinclair owe?
I've already revealed far more than I should. However, you may find moneylenders more forthcoming.
Moneylenders? Oh, God. The fool's got himself in that noose. He'll never struggle free.
Just what is your interest in the salt line, Mr. Onedin?
Profit? What else?
Do you know, I can't understand why James wants to buy the Salt Line Company. I mean, judging by the state of it, its assets are not worth the paper they're printed on.
Knowing James, there'll be a profit in it somewhere.
But not for us. Have you been invited to put money into this new Brazilian venture?
I have considered it.
Crash, you mark my words.
Well, if it doesn't, the shareholders will stand to make a fortune.
At 5%?
Not less than 5%. Robert, you really should read more attentively. If the undertaking succeeds, you can reckon on 16 or 20%.
Moonshine! Like the rest of James's promises, it'll turn to ashes.
I would have thought you'd have learned by now, Robert, that James has the trick of succeeding where others fail.
I wonder where he is going to take us.
Neuf et sept, monsieur. Merci.
But Robert, this is a gaming house.
That's all right. It's a private club. They're very fashionable in London, patronised by all the nobility. Oh, Sarah, please, don't be so provincial.
The dining room's through there. Excellent food, I'm told.
Ah,
Come on, Elizabeth.
There's purpose behind this, James. What are you up to?
Sinclair.
Who?
Chap over there, gambling away the salt line assets.
Huit et sept, monsieur. Merci, monsieur.
He seems to be winning.
Gamblers never win, Elizabeth. I wish I were his moneylender.
His moneylender. What is your game, James?
An exchange of information. Now, you find out for me the name of his moneylender, and I'll show you how you can claim your £20,000 worth of spoilt cargo. Come on. Let me introduce you.
Six. You lose, monsieur.
Yes.
£40.
Onedin, I thought my luck had changed. Are you a member?
I'd like to introduce my sister, Mrs. Fraser. Elizabeth. This is Mr. Sinclair.
I'm delighted to make your acquaintance, Mrs. Fraser. Well. I've long held the opinion that the distaff is invariably the more attractive side of a family.
I think he's pulling your nose, James.
We are old adversaries.
Oh, well, in that case, we do have something in common, Mr. Sinclair.
Well, in which case, may I suggest that we join forces? Do excuse us, Onedin. And, where is Mr. Fraser?
My husband died abroad.
Oh, I'm deeply sorry. Do you play?
What?
The tables.
I'm afraid not.
One must never be afraid to take risks.
Perhaps you'll allow me the pleasure of instructing you.
I think I might hazard a coin, Robert, just one, no more, so that I can say I've actually played the dreadful game.
But don't be foolish, Sarah. Please. That's throwing good money away.
I've won.
Yes, yes, well, come away now.
No, just... Just once more, Robert.
Now will you come away?
No, just one more turn of the wheel.
A card, please.
Madame? Baccarat.
Oh, I've lost again.
£20 in banco.
Banker.
Banco?
I'm afraid at cards I'm a born loser.
Then you must allow me to put you in my debt. Card?
Card?
I'm afraid I couldn't possibly.
Sir.
Yeah, I promise not to demand immediate repayment.
I think I should borrow from my brother, if you'll excuse me. James, whatever am I to do? The man is winning hand over fist.
I told you, Elizabeth. Gamblers cannot ever win.
That I can believe, for I've lost all my money.
All right. Now, I want you to stay with Sinclair. Use your wits. £20 in banco.
So much, and without even a note of hand? Banco, how very unlike an Onedin.
What is a note of hand?
My dear, you really do require instruction. Card.
Card.
Oh, now that's enough. Come on.
Oh, Robert, please, all that money.
She's lost everything, including the housekeeping and even £5 of mine.
But I was winning, James. I was winning a fortune.
Never mind, Sarah. Come with me. Come on. I'll treat you to the best dinner you've had in all your life.
Oh, couldn't touch a morsel.
I should think not. What about Elizabeth?
I think Elizabeth can look after herself, don't you? Set. Merci. £50, madame. Merci.
Lord, I'm tired. Do you know, that man just would not leave the table while he had another penny left in his pocket.
Well, never mind about that. Did you find out just how much he owes around the town?
There are limits, James, to how much a man will divulge on a first meeting.
So you didn't find out? No, well, it doesn't matter. Can't be much, otherwise those sharks would have closed in.
You know he doesn't own the company.
Yes, I know that. Just give me the name of his moneylender. By the time I've bought up all his debts, he won't own anything.
First things first, James. The insurance claim, if you please.
Elizabeth, when will you learn to trust me? All right, show me the contract. Right, then. Here we are. Standard clause in any insurance contract. Black and white.
Yes, the said goods and merchandise shall be properly stowed and holds ventilated, secured and protected against bad weather and all other such perils of the sea. I am aware of the clause, James. What of it?
Now, you examined the ship's log and the master's report, eh?
Naturally.
The ship's course from day to day?
No, I saw little point in labouring the obvious. I know the ship left the Argentine and arrived with no damage.
Come with me. Now, the ship loads in warm weather, right? Then goes north in warm weather. Crosses the Caribbean, the Gulf Stream, then hits the cold Labrador Current, and the weather closes in. Now, Matt Harvey did what any captain would do. He battens down the hatches fore aft, and he traps all that warm tropical air in a cargo full of tin cans. Huh? Condensation.
Condensation?
Oh, yes. He carried out the insurance company's instructions to the letter.
Well, why hasn't it happened before?
Oh, it'll happen again. We're carrying new sorts of cargo nowadays. Got to devise new ways of carriage. Yes, your insurance company ought to be grateful to you. Now then, the name of Sinclair's moneylender. Hmm?
If you don't mind, sir, Mr. Sinclair has given orders that you are not to be admitted.
Onedin. I was under the impression that I'd given strict orders that Mr. Onedin was not to be admitted.
I'm very sorry,
Sinclair,
sir.
you'll
I
give
did
your last
try
order
to
in this
stop
office.
him,
Oh,
but
don't
he
get
just
out. I'm
came-
talking. Your credit has run out.
So, you've been buying up my paper. It won't do, Onedin. It won't do at all. These debts don't fall due until
Until your aunt dies and you inherit. You really are the most despicable creature I've ever met. A man spends a lifetime building up a business and you just chuck it away across a card table.
He hung this business round my neck like an albatross. During his lifetime, I worked for a beggarly remuneration. There was always the promise of tomorrow. One day you'll be rich, he said. He dangled that bait before me, and like a greedy fool, I swallowed it. My uncle was a mean, penny-pinching, parsimonious...
And you're avenging yourself on him. He's dead. What of the living?
Do you suppose I wouldn't have sold if I could? My aunt is as bound to my uncle's resolution as am I. He made her promise not to sell.
I know that. But shall we put that to the test? Huh?
I don't follow.
Well, let's visit her together. In exchange for your resignation, I'll pay all your other debts. If not, I'll call a meeting of your creditors and I'll drag you in front of the bankruptcy courts.
All my other debts?
Every penny piece. From your banker to your wine merchant.
My dear fellow, there's no gratification quite so costly as that of keeping out of debt. Very well. We will call upon my aunt, and I will offer my resignation, which I doubt you will accept. She is a lady of the most unyielding temperament.
Let's hope for your sake she has a change of heart.
My God. She couldn't. She couldn't have.
We shall never know. The company is yours.
No, Onedin. It's yours.
There's your ship, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you, sir.
Time enough to thank me when you return. I intend this company to make a profit. You'll be sailing with only 3 men and a boy. Now, I want you to load up with salt for Newfoundland, then on to the West Indies with fish. They'll take on sugar, molasses and rum, to Portugal, and then home with some of Senor Braganza's wine. Do you still feel grateful?
Across the North Atlantic, 3 men and a boy. I'll express an opinion if I return, sir.
On, away you go. The ship's all yours, Mr. Harvey. Well, sir, and what have you got for me?
Oh, don't worry. Got plenty to occupy you. I want you to take charge of the salt line.
Me? Work ashore in an office? No, sir, I'm not cut out for that kind of work.
Well, you're the only one that I've got. You can handle men and ships.
Paperwork, sir.
Assistant Marine Superintendent.
I don't like fancy titles.
With an increase of pay to go with the job. And then you can have your ship, if you're still a taste for salt water.
Which ship, sir?
This ship was designed and built by the Norwegians. The Christian Radic. 205-foot, 36-foot beam.
It's beautiful, sir. Just look at that canvas.
She's the fastest ship you'll ever sail. And she's all yours, once you get the salt line ships ready for sea.
I'll stir them up, sir. I'll shake up that parcel of lazy, dozy longshoremen. You just leave it to me, sir.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Baines. You really don't have a very comfortable office, James.
No, I shall be moving shortly. I bought the premises next to Robert.
The salt line offices?
Yes.
Sinclair sold to you, then?
Those ships will show a profit, and I shall lease the ground floor to Brother Robert.
Also at a profit.
Naturally. His rent will pay for my new offices.
You would turn a penny from a blind beggar.
Business is business. Now then, what can I do for you?
Well, I took your advice, and the insurance company have paid out. Not without an argument, mind you, but they paid. I owe Mr. Harvey an apology.
Well, you're a bit late. He's sailing this afternoon. Are they paid in full?
Yes, £20,000. I have endorsed it.
So you've elected to buy in, have you? Very wise, very wise.
In return for a directorship.
Very well.
And I want it now, in black and white. Otherwise, not a penny.
There's nothing like trust amongst a family, is there?
My feelings entirely.
Topman, bring in your writing board. They are, Robert. It's all ours.
Hey, but I thought it belonged to the company.
Well, yes, of course it belongs to the company.
Oh, so the rent will be paid, like that of my new house, to the company.
Exactly. Now, the company hires the top floor to me for the new offices, and the ground floor to you for your extensions.
Oh, no. No, I've decided to move to new premises.
You what?
Yeah, well, you will pay the rent for these buildings to the company. I'll be quite content to live off the dividends. It'll go some way to pay for the upkeep of the new house. Hey, Toppy. Oh, well, please yourself.